messages to people. The application uses your phone number as a screen name, and you can actually text people over SMS, although the application doesn't register itself as a texting app, so you won't be getting rid of your default anytime soon. When you first open the application, you'll be greeted with a clean white screen that will list your chats if you have any. Google Assistant is there from the moment you first open the app, but you can delete that conversation and ignore it if you really want to, although we can't imagine why you would. You can open the menu from the left side, which shows you a fairly basic set of controls, including your blocked contacts, settings, and profile information. In the settings, you'll have your typical stuff like setting ringtones, and you can unregister your phone number if you don't want to use the service anymore. Let's get into what Allo can do. To start with, the messaging platform is deceptively simple. You can engage with any person you have a phone number for, although they won't see any special features unless they're also using the app. They won't see your actual phone number if they're not using Allo, but we'll talk about that more here in a minute. If everyone in the chat is using Allo, you'll have a variety of fun and clever little things that you can do. You can ping Google Assistant in any chat and ask for whatever you want, but we'll talk more about the kinds of things that Google Assistant can do here later. On top of that, you'll be able to do the standard stuff like snap a photo to send, share images, share your location, and there are a collection of stickers that you can send. You can also manage your sticker sets, download more, or delete the ones that you have right through the app. If you send images, you can use the ink feature to doodle on them to make them a little more fun. There are also some goofy little features that aren't really useful, but they're fun. For instance, when you send a message, you can press and drag the send button to make the speech bubbles bigger or smaller. This is to simulate things like shouting or whispering and adds a bit of a twist to normal conversation. You can also start group chats by inviting a bunch of people to chat with you. It's nothing special and acts just like a normal Allo chat, except there are more than 2 people in it. The last big feature is incognito mode. This is an encrypted messaging feature that allows you to chat with people in complete privacy. In here, Google data collection is turned off and you can't even ping Google Assistant. You can set messages to expire after a set time. Finally, you can click the recipient's image in the top right corner to mute the chat, clear the history, and view additional chat details. Overall, it's a very simple application that doesn't take long to learn. This entire app revolves around Google Assistant. For those who don't know, Google Assistant is Google's new virtual assistant that's kind of like Google Now, but in a text bot format. You'll ask it questions and talk to it, and it will answer questions and talk back. At this time, you can ping Google Assistant in any non-incognito chat that you have going to utilize its features. You can also have a chat with just Google Assistant, and it can do a range of things. You can ask it for the weather, and it'll deliver the weather. You can ask it for the latest NHL news, and it'll deliver the latest NHL news. It doesn't work with every single request, but it does work enough of the time to make it a lot of fun to use and a little bit impressive. It can do a lot of ultimately useless stuff like tell jokes or play games, but it can also do stuff like find airplane flights, set timers, find restaurants nearby, check your calendar, and all sorts of other stuff. You can check it out for yourself by opening a chat with Google Assistant and simply asking it what it can do. On top of that, you can configure the bot to know more about you by having it ask you questions. My Google Assistant knows that my favorite color is green and that my favorite food is tacos. It's a small thing, but it's kind of nifty, and it'll come up every now and again if you answer enough questions. Perhaps my favorite feature of Google Assistant is the subscriptions feature. If you ask it for the weather, it'll tell you the weather. You can then ask it to send you that information every single day at a certain time. Thus, I have my Google Assistant send me the weather forecast every morning at 10 a.m. and the latest NHL headlines every evening at 7 p.m. You can also manage subscriptions simply by asking. The total list of things that Google Assistant is capable of doing is far too long to list here, but you can ask it anytime you want to and it will always answer. It's surprisingly fun to use and easily the best chatbot that I personally have ever seen. Not everything in Allo is sunshine and rainbows, and there are some curious omissions that don't make much sense even for an application that's brand new. For instance, the application isn't overly customizable. You can connect to your Google account, but you won't be able to get a hold of anybody unless you have their phone number. There is also no theming and no dark mode. When you combine that with the simplistic look and feel of the application, it's actually just a little bit boring, and the bright white just kills your battery if you have an AMOLED screen and use the app frequently. Despite its ability to field and answer text messages, you actually cannot use it as a stock texting app. This is because Allo doesn't actually use your phone number when texting non-Allo recipients. People getting messages from Allo will get a random 5-digit number that doesn't belong to you, and we really don't understand why this isn't a thing that's allowed. There is something to be said about how Google is going to skim every single message you send here that isn't in incognito mode. The privacy crowd is really bothered by it, although your personal feelings may be different. It's not ideal, but it is required for Google Assistant to work properly.